Now then, to a sector of our society that rarely gets enough of a look in conferences like these, and we ignore them at our peril, may I ask Ian Taylor and his panel to come up on stage to talk about the millennial view of travel and sustainability. Ian.
I wonder, should we reframe the rest of the day's programme to consider how mass tourism will disappear? The millennials' view of travel, I have to say I loathe these marketing labels of entire generations, millennials, Generation Z, and the rest of it. There are millennials at Harvard and there are millennials in Haiti, and their experience is not the same. So I would prefer to say, let's hear the view of young adult professionals in travel. Would you please welcome Marta Cabral, Chief Executive of Rota Vincentia. Marta, please. Frédéric Lizée, founder of Travel Hunter. And Isaure Delom, that name sounds familiar, who's an alternative travel activist. Please. So we have very little time. Oops. So, and I should say that Isaure is going to speak in French, so keep your translation handy. Marta, in 10 seconds, just explain what is Rota Vincentia.
Okay, so Rota Vicentina is a local association from Western Algarve and Alentejo, and we are a cooperative network of local companies developing a model for our region in what tourism concerns. More or less, that's it.
Okay, Fred, you've got 10 seconds. What's Travel Hunter?
Travel Hunter is a consulting company. Yeah, sorry. Travel Hunter is a consulting company for sourcing, so sourcing in terms of strategies, digitalization as well for local DMCs all around the world, but also for ground sourcing, so actually hunting, hence the name Travel Hunter, hunting for local immersive and responsible experiences. On top of that, I know we are running late, but I've created a year ago a challenge for the youth community, the millennials, which is about, so the New Explore Challenge, which is about thinking, building resilience and creating sustainable travel products.
Okay, so you're not shooting anything. That's good. Isaure, quickly, what do you mean by alternative travel?
Sorry?
What do you mean by alternative travel?
For me, alternative travel is... I can speak in French. C'est un voyage qui va vers les gens, qui est dans une vitesse différente.
It is a journey that goes out, reaches out to people at a different speed. We have just heard about that. It is an alternative journey from a social perspective. It is peace and an alternative way of traveling. It is peace.
I have a mic here, I had headphones, I had a mask and glasses. We need more ears for the future. Okay, I want to move very quickly onto your view of travel, but first, Marta, tell me, has COVID changed your attitude to travel?
Well, definitely, because I stopped for a good while to travel abroad. Actually, radically, I haven't traveled abroad since COVID started, and I'm traveling a lot in my own region, which I'm very fortunate to be lucky to live in a beautiful region, and Portugal, so definitely slower and closer.
And will you continue with this?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, Fred, how has COVID changed your attitude?
It didn't change my attitude. Of course, maybe the destinations and also the preparation is a little bit like it's a longer process now with all the COVID regulations. But in terms of way of traveling, no, it's still the same. Slow travel. Yeah, now it's maybe more closer to home adventures, micro adventures. But yeah, when I'm with a bunch of friends, I like sleeping in a hammock in the middle of the Amazon jungle. Or since I'm no longer like a young backpacker, I like the flashback style of travel. So traveling local, but staying in like eco-friendly hotels.
Okay, and Isaure, has COVID changed your attitude?
No, it didn't change my attitude. Je fais partie des gens qui ont la chance qui avaient déjà ce point de vue. Par contre, ce qui a changé, c'est le nombre de personnes.
I was part of the same group who always traveled like this, but the number of people who are now interested in this kind of traveling, this form of traveling, grew. And I was surprised by that. The awareness increased after the pandemic. And this is something I want to highlight here. All of the ideas who came up thanks to the crisis, something struck people. COVID did that to people. And now what we hear are discussions like these about what we are talking about here today.
Thank you for that. The session is what is your view of travel, but the key question, I think, is what is the message you have for industry leaders and for government ministers and who are here at this conference. So Marta, what's your message?
First of all, thank you for the opportunity. I must say I'm overwhelmed with what I heard yesterday, and I truly believe in everything the previous speaker said about the future. This is exactly how I see it, and I can tell you it's been a long time I'm thinking about this and working on this. So from what we heard yesterday, I would say that we all agree that we need to think local and act global. We need to address to a new way of thinking. I was hearing this word hospitality, and I truly believe that the industry, and the word industry already makes me a bit chilly, but hospitality is not about the services. Hospitality is about, you know, someone feeling welcome in an area. So I think we all believe we need to work with the local communities. The question is how to do it, because with the intention we already agree. I believe if we have 120 or 40 speakers or attendees in this event, if we really do it, if we would do it, we would change the world. This for me is clear, but are we willing to do it? Because it takes time, it takes money, it takes effort, and it takes the willing to lose power and to empower the local people. And this is something I doubt people are really committed to do, because it's really about commitment. We cannot do this if we are not willing to lose some part of our power in order to empower the local people, and through that to give quality of life, human and animals and plants to the destinations. So my point is, how can we do it? We are researching this for many years, and this year we had an event. We invited an amazing case study I met through ATTA, Adventure Travel Trade Association, their events from Norway. They got inspired by Ireland, and they are doing this methodology. So it's tested, it exists, and it's about strategic planning with the local communities. It's something that takes time along the years. So they address a few questions, if I have the time. So why do we want tourism? Why do we need them? What have we got? Where and when do we want them? Who do we want to invite to our home? And how do we get them? And how much do you go a bit deeper into each one of these questions with the local people? Without this, I truly believe we are only dreaming, we are not acting.
Okay. Fred? Your message to the industry leaders, government ministers.
Yeah, thank you. I'll try to be short. I know we have a couple of minutes left, and I had a couple of things to say. I mean, first of all, there was something clear. I mean, I spoke to a couple of journalists yesterday, and some of them said that it's a bit surprising to have, only 15 minutes for millennials, and that the millennial community was not that represented, during the 2 days. So maybe that's one takeaway from this year. So I've taken notes because English is not the first language, but basically the millennials and the youth community want to travel with purpose. I believe it's time to use travel as a force for good on a larger scale. So I'm inviting tourism schools in your respective countries to follow and participate in the New Explorer Challenge. Again, this is something to foster sustainable practices among the new generation. I really wish to make it international, because it's important to mix different visions and cultures, since I think sustainability is the responsibility of all of us. But finally, what I can share to travel leaders and expectations from millennials, I made up a list, and I just want to clarify that unlike Marta and Isaure, I guess they are more acting locally. I've been specializing in international travel for the past 15 years. So my passion and number one passion remains crossing borders, understanding cultures. That's it. I don't think I'm going to change. Yes, I'm adapting and traveling closer to home right now, but my passion is about discovering new cultures. In terms of takeaways, so on behalf of the millennial community, in tourism, of course, and travel, first, I think we need to focus more on sustainable tourism trainings and education in schools. Millennials want less mainstream tourism and to decrease the share of mass market actors, with no value and which are not sustainable. The millennials themselves are looking for more authentic and real-life travel experiences. Back to nature, focus on wellness, and as I said earlier, eco-friendly accommodation. That's a rule. A growing trend, there is a rise of freelancers. I myself co-created in France a collective of freelancers in tourism, specialized in tourism. And of course, digital nomad lifestyles. More flexibility, personalization, and inclusivity in the value proposition. I think they are actually driving the market, trends evolution, as we talked about, micro adventures, slow travel, like Isaure is doing, obviously promoting. Something quite important as well, travel influence on social media should be more responsible and sustainable. Like you mentioned about something with Norway. I remember like a year ago when I traveled to Iceland, a lot of influencers or bloggers, going off the beaten track, but not respecting, the path and everything. So most of them are not that respectful. I know it's changing. So I think millennials are looking for more sustainable ways of influencing on Instagram. They're asking for a shared responsibility towards climate change and sustainability. And the tour operators should look first at how to reduce their carbon footprint, instead of offsetting. So the priority is reducing the carbon footprint, of course. And finally, a better balance of tourism volumes, making sure that in the near future, we collectively contribute to a more sensible spread of flows, tourist flows, in the time and in the space.
Okay, that's quite a list, but well done for getting it all in.
I had some more.
And Isaure, you have
less time.
No, you have the same time.
Okay. C'est pas un problème puisque en fait mes collègues ont déjà dit deux des grands points que je voulais souligner.
Well, less time is not a problem because my colleagues have already highlighted two things: working with the local populations, and ensuring that tourism is good for the local population. It is the locals who must profit the most economically and from a human perspective from tourism. My message my priority. We have initiatives, all types of initiatives, ecological tourism, especially small initiatives like ours, but that are growing. But you can't do anything of this on our own. We are going through a paradigm shift, so together and with decision makers, because only decision makers can help us move forward. Influencers, social media are also very important. Audience and supply must be taken to other places outside of the mass flows. We should not be advertising always the same destinations. If we use Instagram and other social media to do so, it's good. I arrived in Alentejo and I made a documentary on Alentejo. And Alentejo is a place with so much culture, and I would never have discovered it on my own. And there are so many other parts of Europe which need tourism and have so much to offer. So it's very important to provide supply in other parts. Don't shine the lights always on the same destinations. Yesterday, the Minister of Bulgaria said that we should not only advertise sun and beach. Of course, beaches are beautiful anywhere in the world, but we should also be advertising the local cultures, the handicraft. We often see that our generations live in the cities, but they are going back to the back to rural areas. They are looking for rurality. At the governmental level and also at the level of supply, there is still a lot to be done to advertise tourism in all the parts of the world.
Brilliant, you've been disciplined. So some takeaways. I think this session is too short. There should be more young people here. We need more inclusivity, working with local communities, more sustainability training, less mainstream tourism. Don't shine the light on the same old destinations. Down with bucket lists. Let's have no more of this nonsense. And one thought from me, how sustainable is the digital economy? Because its carbon footprint is accelerating, growing much faster than travels. Please thank Marta, Isaure and Frédéric.